Hey Pilates Party people, welcome to my channel or welcome back to my channel. My name is Caroline, a certified Pilates and yoga instructor here in Christchurch, New Zealand. Today we have a fun functional reformer practice. Here on a reformer, we're going to get this party started right away, but we have to set up our reformer first. So make sure you have your Pilates box just off to the side, making sure you have your Pilates ball. We're going to place that ball onto the headrest. The headrest is going to be in a lower setting. And make sure that you have your foot bar lifted, popping the hood, and looking at those springs. We have two reformer spring settings today, level 1 and a little bit tougher is that level 2. So for level 1, we have one heavy, one medium spring. That's one heavy, one medium spring. Level 2, we have one heavy, one medium, and we're adding on a light spring. So that's one heavy, one medium, one light spring. All right, we have one more prop and tool before we get this party started, but we have some options. So I have some 1 kg to 2 kg ankle weights, and I'm going to transfer them onto wrist weights later on in practice. So we have an option of ankle to wrist weights. Option here, if you don't have that style of weight, that is a-okay. Grab yourself some 1 kg, 2 kg to 3 kg dumbbells and just place them off to the side. Let's go ahead and get this party started by side lying on our reformer for our footwork. So laying nice and long onto your reformer, head onto that headrest, which has that ball on it, like a little pillow. Making sure the spine feels nice and long. You can shift the back of the pelvis on to the back of that reformer, so just onto the side behind the bum. Option here to keep the spine nice and long, nice and strong. Find what feels good to you wherever you are. The pelvis wants to be nice and square. Those hip bones want to be shining right towards the front of the room. And our spine wants to stay nice and long here. So sometimes if we have smaller carriages, it is nice to just scoot your bum back just a little bit. So we're on a little bit of an angle here. Otherwise, nice and long, nice and strong through the spine, folding the knees, taking that top foot onto that foot bar. The toes are going to be on the front of that foot bar, shimmy shake so that they are. Heel is going to be aligned on that foot bar right underneath. So pressing that heel into the foot bar, toes into the foot bar, and as you exhale, lifting the lower set of ribs up towards the top set of ribs. So finding a little bit of an activation through the lower abdominals here. Activating the top set of ribs as well, hugging both sides of the ribs together at midline and down towards the spine softly, engaging through that core. The top hand can be on that shoulder rest or take its place onto that top hip. Looking down, making sure that hip, that knee, and that ankle are all in that beautiful alignment before we get this party started. Hovering the bottom leg. Exhale, press through that top heel to press out nice and long. Engage through the glutes at the top. Inhale to fold back towards the stoppers. Exhale, we're going to press through that standing heel. Engage that glute at the top. Inhale. Exhale. Last 3. Checking in that those hips are still nice and square, even rolling that top hip slightly forward. Make sure that knee doesn't buckle with it. It stays at tabletop height, so hip, knee, and ankle in alignment. Imagine you have a coffee cup on that top knee. This time, as you press out nice and long, find your balance here. Rolling from the heel, lifting the heel all the way through the toes. Fan out through the toes, press through the big toe mound, the pinky edge, and then roll all the way back down to the heel, folding back into the stoppers. So that's our add-on here. Exhale, option to take it or leave it. Lift the heel, pop the heel back down, and fold back in. Always checking in on that top knee, making sure it doesn't slide down. We're still holding that coffee cup, or maybe you found a little bit spicy coffee cup just onto the top of the knee, whatever motivates you today. Last one. This time, as you exhale, press out nice and long, lift that heel. This time, keep that heel lifted. Fold in just halfway. Now we're going to act like we're impatient. We're going to stay at that halfway mark. The carriage isn't going to move. neither is the body here. The knee is going to stay in line with that hip, and then we're going to tap that heel down, lift it back up. Spread out through those toes. Almost acting as if we're impatient, dropping the heel, tapping it down, and lifting it back up into that high heel. 5, 4, 3, 2, press the heel down, press away, and fold back in. Well done. All right, let's do the exact same thing on the other side. Keep that ball right where it is as we slowly drive ourselves over to the other side. Go on to the other side here, making sure the spine feels nice and long. Now, if you have a shorter carriage, again, you can scoot the bum back, but make sure the spine feels nice and long. Making sure that that top hand finds its way onto the hip or more supportive onto that shoulder rest, folding to the knees, and take that top leg just onto that foot bar, making sure the toes are on the foot bar, heel is on the foot bar, lifting that knee so we have that spicy cup of coffee just onto that knee here, hip height, ankle aligns as well. Lifting and hovering that bottom leg, exhale, press through the heel to press away. Inhale, fold back in. Lifting actively out of the lower set of ribs. Feeling the two sides of the ribs draw together at that center line and draw slightly down towards the spine. Engaging through that top glute as we reach that length through the leg. Give it a little squeeze and soften back down. Widen through the sit bones. Last 2. This last one, we're going to exhale, press out nice and long. Feel that high heel roll onto the tippy toes, big toe mound, pinky edge, wrap around. Heel then lands, and we fold back into the stoppers. Make sure that knee stays nice and aligned with that hip. That hip stays nice and stacked over that bottom hip. Last 4. This time, we're going to press away nice and long, lift that heel, wrap those toes around, keep that heel lifted, fold in halfway. Now we're going to keep the carriage nice and still as we tap that heel down and lift it back up. That impatient heel dip and lift. Let those shoulders be square and soft. Let the hips be square. One stacked on top of the other. 4. Lift the heel, press away, drop the heel, and fold back into the stoppers. Whew, give those glutes a little massage. We're going to slowly take that top hand onto that top of the shoulder rest, slide up, pressing away from that carriage. We have some spring changes for our bridge work. So making sure that we're looking at our springs here. And getting up nice and slowly. We have been laying on our side for quite a while, but we're into our nice bridging series. So keep those weights on those ankles if you have them. We are going to take one light spring onto that reformer for that added spring. So if you already have that light spring on, keep it there. We want a little bit of a challenge, a little bit more into the challenge of the hamstrings and the glutes. And we're going to find a nice extension through that bridge. So that ball can leave, it can just drop down onto the mat, making sure that we can grab it as we're in our bridging series, but we just don't need it yet. Rolling down onto that carriage, the headrest is still nice and lowered, and without that ball, we feel that our spine can be nice and long here. Heels are on the foot bar, hip width distance apart. Hands are nice and long by your side to find a little bit more support. And we're not going to move that carriage from the stoppers here, but we have light springs. So we're gonna have to work those hamstrings, those glutes mighty hard. As you exhale, feel that sensation of tipping the pelvis, scooping the tail, imprinting the lower spine, or the lower spine presses into the mat slightly as you lift the pelvis off the reformer and start to articulate or start to individually lift each and every vertebrae into that bridge. The shoulders stay nice and soft. The neck stays nice and long. There's a soft nod of the chin to the chest, almost as if you're holding a peach here. Inhale at the top, and then exhale, soften through the throat. Let the shoulders melt, one rib at a time melt, one vertebrae at a time, ripple down through that spine. And then the tail will land at the very end, unfurling like a fern. Exhale, we're here again, rocking and rolling up into that bridge. Once you find that bridge here, I want you to feel that knit of the ribs once again, wrapping towards the center line, towards that mid-center, and then dropping down towards the hips, feeling that rib-hip connection. As you exhale, soften through the throat, the back of the shoulders melt, and vertebrae by vertebrae, we land onto that reformer as if we're unfurling here. Inhale, exhale, roll up. Keeping that carriage nice and quiet. It even feels like those sit bones are pulling towards the heels, activating those hamstrings, engaging the glutes, feel that rib-hip connection, and then exhale, slowly melt down, almost as if you're draping a string of pearls onto that reformer behind you. All right, I hope you kept your ball close because we're gonna grab that ball, take the hands and wrap them on either side of that ball. Option here to keep the hands nice and long by your side to find a little bit more support. All right, from here, we're going to exhale, same thing, scoop the tail, imprint the lower spine, lift and articulate up into that bridge. We'll feel that rib-hip connection as we lengthen through the front of the thighs. Send the front of the thighs towards where the ceiling meets the wall. Inhale at the top. And as you exhale, slowly melt the chest away from the ball. Slowly start to melt down onto that reformer as if you're peeling away from the ball actively. Rippling through the spine until we unfurl the tail. One more time. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale, reset. Exhale, this time we're going to pause in that bridge with the hands down by your side or wrapped around the ball. It's absolutely up to you. If you do have that ball, we're going to find a little bit of a fun little trick here, but we're going to find a marching no matter if you have the ball or not. So keep the hips nice and square. Take all the weight into the left foot and then lift the right hip, keeping the hips nice and square, even hiking that right hip up just slightly. If you have the ball, wrap it around the back of that thigh, tap the foot down, lift those hips, hands draw back over the chest. All right, to the other side. Lift, interlace, tap down, to the other side. Start to find your march as you find that balance in the hips. Imagine that spicy coffee is now at the front of those hips. And we don't want to spill it. We don't want to teeter-totter back and forth. We want to keep it nice and strong, engage the glutes. Keep that rib-hip connection. Last one here on either side. Finding your way back to center. And then slowly as you exhale, melt it down all the way through. All right, one more add-on here. Exhale, lifting up into that bridge. This time we'll keep both the heels onto that foot bar here. Imagine the body like a body board. Nice and long, nice and strong, rib-hip connection. So draw the ribs in, soften them down, and draw them towards the front of the hips. From here, we keep that sensation, nice long spine, dip the hips, crease in the front of the hips, and then pause here. Exhale, press out nice and long through those legs, coming into a standing position. Those sit bones will almost drag onto that reformer carriage underneath you. And then inhale here, exhale, we drive back up into that bridge we started with. All the while keeping a nice long spine. Crease in the front of the hips on the inhale, exhale, press it back. Inhale, exhale, drive it up. Inhale, exhale. Inhale, exhale. Last one. Beautiful. Exhale. As you draw back into the stoppers, stay into the stoppers, but slowly lower yourself into that nice carriage behind you, resting and releasing. Whew. All right. So we're going to take that ball off to the side, take those hands behind the thighs, and we're going to rock and roll to change up those springs. So exhale, pressing all the way up. Find that lift, maybe draping the legs over the foot bar, or if you have smaller legs like I do, maybe just crisscross applesauce at the front of your reformer. Now that we have that heavy, that medium, and that light spring, we're going to take all but that light spring off. So you have one light spring on your reformer. Now it's going to feel quite light here, but this is where we're going to transfer those ankle weights to those wrist weights, or pick up our 1 kg, 2 kg, or 3 kg dumbbells. So when you're ready, transferring your weights here. Once you transferred those weights onto your wrists or picked up your dumbbell, we just need one dumbbell today. We're going to take that ball back onto the headrest space. Come onto your side body, facing the first side that you started with. Again, find the spine nice and long. Same setup here. Folding the knees, but this time the knees stay in together, almost as if you're seated into a chair, and just lift and hover that bottom leg so it doesn't scratch itself onto that platform. Take that top hand into that nice short loop onto that reformer. Bottom hand is going to wrap around. So if you have that weight, it's in the top hand with that strap. All right, from here, we're going to press nice and long, just so that shoulder and that wrist are in alignment. This is our starting position. Lifting actively out of the lower set of ribs, drawing down with the top set of ribs, hugging towards the midline. As you do, exhale, press the hands down towards the hips. So if it doesn't feel good with that weight in the hand, the dumbbell, sometimes it feels easy breezy lemon squeezy, sometimes not. That's okay, just drop it off to the side. Otherwise, inhale, reaching up, just shoulder height. Exhale, press it down, just to the hip. Just to shoulder height, having that control and pressing it down. One more time. Beautiful. This time, pressing down just as you have before. Pause when you reach the hip. Flip the palm to face the back wall or towards the bum, and then folding from the elbow, folding that forearm, keeping the elbow nice and where it is, almost as if it's on that countertop. Press through that hand, flip the palm, and reach it back up to the stars. So now we're adding that tricep. Press down, flip the palm, fold, press, flip the palm, and reach. And again, if that dumbbell does not feel good, sometimes these weights, they work very, very differently. Here it's easy breezy, I'm not even having to hold on to it, but if you have to hold on to that strap and that dumbbell, sometimes it's just not the vibe, and that's okay. If it is the vibe, let me know in the comments how it felt, and if it added any extra load or sensations. Last one. All right, taking that strap back to the shoulder rest. We're going to do that on the other side, but before we do, we're going to take that top hand onto the shoulder rest, pressing away. Take that ball. We're going to keep that light spring load, so just being aware it is quite light. Now you can always use that box to the side. Take it nice and short ways on your reformer if you have any problems with the knees, or if you want a little bit of softness in the knees. Otherwise, we're going to find, a high kneel with that ball in between those knees. So heels up against the shoulder rest, tuck the toes under, take the ball in between the knees. Find a little squeeze. So we do want those adductors, those inner thighs, to be activated. Option here, if that tuck of the toes doesn't feel good, always welcome to let the back of the heels feel nice and heavy on the hips, feel nice and heavy on the back of the heels, and untuck those toes. Find what feels good to you. For me, the tuck of the toes do not feel nice and handy dandy for me, so I'm gonna untuck the toes. But find what feels good to you. We're gonna start low and build. So you're always welcome to stay low, roll those shoulders, take the hands nice and long by your side on either side of the foot bar or the reformer here. As you exhale, we're gonna reach towards the foot bar, reach those arms forward, and then inhale, soften them back down to the hips. Almost as if you're drawing through glassy water here. Those fingertips wanna reach forward, and then slowly draw through that glassy water. Exhale, engage the two sides of the ribs, hug towards center line. Inhale. Keeping the shoulders nice and low, nice and broad through the collarbones. This time, if it feels good, take it slow. Exhale, engage the core. As you reach those arms, you lift into a high kneel. Inhale, find that nice hinge down, all the way into that glassy water by the hips. Exhale. Inhale. If it felt good to lift up, this time staying lifted. Elbows then pull back towards the side of the torso. Stay lifted. Exhale, reach it out nice and long. Last 3. This time, keep the arms nice and long. Slowly find that hinge all the way down. Take those straps just into the shoulder rests or those pegs behind it. We're gonna come on to the other side. So knowing that the carriage is going to move and groove when you do, we're gonna take it nice and slow, coming onto your side body on the other side. That ball is once again that pillow. Ooh, my pillow wants to definitely wobble away, and that is a-okay. Coming down onto your side body here, making sure the spine feels nice and long. This time, just letting those knees be nice and together in that tabletop position, lifting that bottom leg and taking that weight, if you want it, into that top hand. All right, from here, pressing just to shoulder height. This is where we want to start. Let the shoulders soften, broaden through the chest. Hug the shoulder blades softly together at the back of the body. And then when you're ready, exhale, press it down to the hip, reach those fingertips. Inhale, draw those arms up towards the sky, pointing right towards the ceiling. Exhale. Again, we want to notice those ribs. And if it's starting to feel like, paint me like one of your French girls, and you're starting to wrap those ribs down, we're actively lifting out of the lower set of ribs, keeping those hips nice and square. Exhale, wrap those ribs. Last 2. Pause at the base of this one. Flip the palm to the bum and then fold that elbow. Exhale, press. Almost squeezing that elbow up towards the tricep. Flip the palm and draw it up. Exhale. Flip the palm, press back, elbow squeeze, flip the palm, and reach it up. Last 4. Beautiful work. Keep it strong. Last one. Press it back this time. Fold back into the elbow. Take that strap just onto the peg once again. Bringing yourself up. We'll take that ball just off to the side. And looking at those spring loads, this time level 2, the harder level, is going to be that light spring because we're coming into the planking series. Level 1 is going to be 1 medium spring. So level 1, 1 medium spring, level 2, 1 light spring. So either chopping and changing or staying on the same, find what feels good to you. Hands then are going to find the foot bar, stepping up gently onto that carriage, making sure you feel nice and supportive in that space. All right, we're gonna find a tabletop position with those hips, making sure that that spicy coffee has somewhere to be. One on either hip now. Shoulders and wrists are going to be in alignment. Lift the heels and make sure those feet are about hip width distance apart. Option here to find those feet nice and closed in on one another. Option, hip width distance apart. Those feet are just under the hips and you will fold those knees. Widen through the back of the sit bones. Feel that length, that tabletop through the back of the hips. We're gonna keep those coffee cups right where they are, but as you exhale, press out into that plank without dipping those hips all the way down. Inhale, widen to the back of the sit bones, draw those knees under the hips. Feel that exhale, knitting those ribs together, but also hugging in and up with the lower abdominals. Inhale, exhale. Last 2. Last 1. As you exhale this time, stay in that plank and then pivot on the toes to face towards one direction, the hips face in the other direction, and we'll fold those knees in here. Almost squeezing that lower side body, staying active, pressing out of the shoulders. 3, 2, and that last one. We're gonna do it all again on the other side. So press nice and long, back to center, and pivot over to the side. Pull in, staying lifted out of those lower hips. The lower hip wants to be nice and lifted up. So keep it lifted, lift, lift, lift. Last 2. Last 1. Pivot back to center, fold back in, take those heels down, take those hips up, drape those arms over the foot bar, and wring out those wrists. Well done. All right. Stepping off the same side as your box, we're gonna grab a hold of that box. So stepping off the same side, or finding your box here, we're going to take that box just to the very front of your reformer, setting it up for that lunge series. Now, my box does squeak quite a bit, so I'm sorry in advance. And again, we have that same spring load. The lighter option is going to be actually the more intense option. So level 1 being a nice medium spring, and the level 2 is that light spring. All right, it will feel better when you push it out, but not as easy when you pull it in with that light spring. Let me tell you, take that outside leg right up against that reformer, inside heel up against the shoulder rest, with or without those weights here. I have those weights just attached to me, but if you have weights, you're more than welcome to grab them. We're going to take those elbows just by the side, with or without those weights. The heel is going to be lifted on that shoulder rest, but the hips are going to be nice and square. So wrap that lifted leg, hip, draw it forward, wrap it forward. From here, press through that kickback leg. You'll notice that it's only about 15 degrees of extension there. That is a-okay. Then we start to fold and hinge through that bottom leg or that standing leg. Pressing through that heel to rise up and zip up the inner thighs. With or without those weights, we'll reach those arms up. Drop the ribs down. Folding in. Keeping them nice at 90, press and fold. Feel that hinge, pressing all the way up, reaching all the way up. Last one. Feeling as if someone's pulling you by your hamstring in that lunge. So that hamstring, the back of the thigh, wants to reach up to the ceiling, and that will just lengthen that knee joint. We reach up. Fold it down. This time when we get low, we stay low. So we're going to press it out. Fold that back knee under as you take those elbows out to the side with or without those weights. Draw back in, press that leg out. So we're reaching out with those elbows and drawing back in. Hug the lowest rib down towards the spine. Keeping that core engagement, keeping those shoulders shining, broadening through the chest. Last two. That last one. This time, pressing out nice and long, pressing through the standing heel and lifting those arms. Woo, victory. All right. We'll take that box, shimmy shake those shoulders and those knees and those glutes, and take that box just nice and short ways as you come to standing on the other side of your reformer. We just have that last lunge series to go and you are done and dusted. So once you reach the other side of your reformer, take that box with you into that nice lunge series on the other side. Now we're not going to change those springs. Whatever you had on the other side is going to be what we're stuck with on this side. Outside leg right up against that reformer, inside heel, up against that shoulder rest. Hips are nice and square. Even roll that lifted leg on that reformer. Roll that hip slightly forward. And then once you're ready, take it into 90 with or without those weights. Roll those shoulders, hug that lowest rib. Exhale, press through that kick back leg. Once you can't any longer, then that triggers that nice chain reaction, that hinge and that press. Driving all the way back up and reach up. Option just to keep it at 90. We know where we're going from here. So maybe if it feels good, just finding that reach up. It's that same arm series as we had before on the other side. So we're really just doubling down on that arm series, but it will feel a little bit new on this side. Maybe the balance will be a little different. Maybe the glute knew what it was in for. So it's already feeling a little bit more sensational on this side. Last one here. This time, no more resets for us. We're staying low. So here we go. Elbows go wide as that knee draws under the hip, widen through the sit bones, closing back, pressing out. Reach and draw. Those shoulder blades don't want to necessarily lift up, but they want to gently squeeze at the back of the body here. Feel the shoulder blades gliding on the back of the ribs towards the spine and slightly forward. Last three. Last little bit of work, we got this. This time we stay long, one more victory. We draw it all the way up, reach up, woo! And we are done and dusted. Well done today, team. If you have any questions, let me know. Otherwise, thanks so much for working out with me today. Leave a comment below. Leave a dancing figure if you had a good time in practice, and I'll see you in the next little workout we have going on. All right, I'll see you later. Bye.